Hey, welcome back. We have a very cool knife here tonight. Excited to get into this one. And it came on a trade. One brown knife for another brown knife. So let's get into it. Grab this, give this a second try over here off screen. But this is a very rare one and a pretty cool knife. One that I definitely pursued. Didn't even really think to pursue in the first place, and then I kind of ended up down a path, and then it kind of manifested itself out of nowhere. It had already been sold to another person when I found it. And here it is. This is Brown Knives, Cortex, number prototype 1. So cool. Oh man, that thing is freaking brand new. That's pretty sweet. A little pocket clip wear. It looks like there's like one snail in the pocket clip there. But wow, that looks really good. This had the bolster. Oh wow, that's funny. The flipper tab sticks way up higher than his newer ones. This thing feels like it's actually a little loose. I could be wrong, but yeah, excited to have it. This is, I think this was a real turning point knife for Brown Knives in a lot of ways. I think it introduced multiple deployments. It had, gosh, it's so cool too. What's surprising me the most here is this first version has a lot of the things I liked most about what he did in this series. I kind of figured that the early prototype, just to show that here, prototype number 1, I would have thought the early prototype of this would have been probably the frame lock, not the bolster. And, might have left some stuff out, frankly. But this is really just like the things that I liked about the Cortex, the bolster lock, so you can deploy it without, potentially frame locking yourself as readily. You can certainly still do it if you grab right there, but it's pretty natural to not mess yourself up with the frame on this. I am finding this one a little harder to thumb flick than the newer one that I have, so that's kind of interesting. I don't know what maybe he changed there, but man, the action's insane on it. It's so drop shut that it feels like it's like loose or something. It's insane. The flipper tab was sticking up on this a lot more than the newer ones. So I have a version 2 here. This one is a frame lock version 2, but it's the one I just grabbed very easily. You can see maybe based on the feedback from the prototype that he took that down so it's not quite sticking up so much. It's kind of sticking back. I actually really like the feel of the prototype, honestly, from a purchase perspective. It's easy to get a hold of it. Like this one does feel like you could kind of miss it a little bit. This thing is very distinct, and you know you're going to get it. I'm still not sure why I'm having so much trouble with getting the finger flick or the thumb flick. The finger flick works well, the reverse flick. But you can see this is a version 1 versus a version 2. So version 1, the bolster didn't have, I'm sorry, not the bolster, the pivot didn't have the collar on it. So you can see version 2 has the pivot collar versus the pivot here is a little more simple. The other side's generally the same. This is number 313, so this is a pretty late run. The blades look almost identical aside from the flipper tab, which is pretty wild. I had different jimping on here too, but man, that's pretty crazy how similar those elements are. I expected, honestly, some of that stuff to have changed a little bit more. I have an early LHCX prototype too that is definitely more different. I feel like the other LHCXs, it's actually an LHC even, it's not even LHCX, but Yeah, overall, very neat here. What else am I seeing? The back spacers, in this case, the jimping's a little different, but I think I've seen this jimping before. Let me go grab my other one and just see how it compares. The action's not as smooth. It's definitely a little kind of louder, a little more, I don't want to say gritty, but like kind of clanky. It's a little clankier on the action than these newer ones. These newer ones, this one's number 396. It was one of the last ones he created. The action on this one is just insanely smooth, predictable. This one has by far the best action of any of the ones that I've, not by far, but the best action of any of the ones that I've handled. Just insane. So good. Let's see what the, yeah, no, so this one's more similar to this one. So maybe the a lot of the milling on here and here changed over time, but I feel like I'd seen that. Maybe, you know what, I've seen that before. I think that's what the LHCX has on it. I think that's where I've seen that before. Let's grab one if I can really quickly. Find an LHCX. Where's one? Here we go. Here's an LHCX V2, so it's a little bit of a newer one. And yeah, there you go. A little more similar. It's not exactly the same, but definitely more similar to this. Man, that thing is a freaking guillotine. But you can see some of the similarities carrying over there. Yeah, interesting. Very nice. Very excited about this one. Man, that's so crazy just how, yeah, it does need to be tightened down a little now that I give it a really good wiggle. So let's do that. Got to move all these nice Cortexes out of here before we do this. If I recall, was it a 10? Let's see if it's a 10. Can't remember if it's a 10 or maybe it's an 8 on these. Yeah, I think it's an 8. Sorry if you haven't seen some of the other videos, I mentioned it, but my hand got bashed under the couch, helping my kid get a car out from under there. Yeah, this thing needed just a touch more. I think that'll kind of fix the action a little, actually. Still very drop shut. Probably even use a little more tightening down. That's crazy. Yeah, I think I overdid it just slightly there. It's probably right about there. It's just about right. There we go. That's the action that we look for on the brown knives. Just a hydraulic, insanely drop shut closing action like that. So now it actually feels how it should. It doesn't feel rattly to me now at all. Sweet. Very cool knife. Definitely excited to have this, and this is kind of the last one I've been waiting for to do my brown knives overview video. So if you've seen some of the videos I've done on Demco, on Oz Machine Company, Victorinox, I've done a little history on the maker to start, and then I do usually a 2-part series, and you know, kind of talk through my collection philosophy, and then just a little bit of what the makers have done and the journey that they appear to have gone on their, you know, in terms of the knife development. And yeah, just try and bring a little knowledge to the community. That gives me a lot of knowledge. But this is a kind of a key element. So I've got mini FSD prototype number 1. I haven't been able to get an FSD prototype yet. I'd really like to, but not likely to happen anytime soon from what I'm seeing. And then I have, what else? So that's actually now working better. I think part of the reason the thumb stud, it's just probably me, but not great for some reason. Part of the Oh, so anyways, I have I found LHCX prototype number 3, Mini FSD prototype 1, Cortex prototype 1, and a few other really cool ones that are very early in the brown knives development. And then I also have a bunch that for me represent what I really love about brown knives, which is some of these later versions and some of the magical finishings he did on these that are just freaking beautiful, beautiful knives that I really like. So we'll bring a little mix of what I'll call the brown historic knives and then some of the brown, what I'll call the enamored knives, the ones that I really just like because I think he did an amazing job on them. And I think it'll make a fun overview video. So look forward to that. But yeah, really, really excited to have this one in the collection. It's something that I heard existed kind of, and then the guy that told me about it was the guy that sold me the parabolic said, yeah, but I just sold it to this other guy. That other guy contacted a friend of mine and said, hey, I'm thinking about selling this thing. What do you think? And a friend of mine was like, I know who would love that. And then he hit me up. And yeah, this thing is in very, very good shape for being the first Cortex. And you know, with prototypes, a lot of times the makers will go ask the people that get them to go use them. So you can get pretty beat up prototypes, candidly. But this one is really nice. The Mini FSD I have is really nice. The LHCX I have is really nice. Lucky I've been able to nail down some brown knives that are prototype but not beat to heck. So I think that's really neat and kind of a unique occurrence and opportunity. I think this is a like, by the way, I think this is like a canvas micarta of some sort, I guess you'd call it, or like a twill micarta or something. But it's really nice. Very impressed with the finishing on this bolster lock, and the way this inlay works and everything is very, very nice for being a prototype. The first one that he made. It's pretty crazy. So yeah, excited to have it. Hope you enjoyed getting to see it for the first time along with me. And please like, subscribe. I will see you on the next one. Take care.